Thank you for joining us for this month's Curators Tour. I'm Britt Mitchell, Associate Curator of Exhibitions, and today we will be exploring Ancient Methods, Modern Visions, Sand Cast Glass. Sand casting is an ancient sculpting technique invented over 4,000 years ago in Egypt and Mesopotamia. Adapted in the 20th century, glass sculptors around the world such as Bertil Vallien, Marlene Rose, and Howard Ben Trey explore the possibilities of sand casting. Through this process, molten glass is poured into a mold made from sand to yield textured, translucent sculptures that highlight the divide between ancient ways of making and modern artistic visions. This exhibition is curated by Britt Mitchell, Associate Curator of Exhibitions, and is supported by the Edward D. and Ione Auer Foundation. To create sand cast glass, a mold is prepared using a large flat bed of sand and powdered bentonite clay. An object is then pressed into the sand mixture and carefully removed, leaving an exact impression of its form. After the impression is prepared, molten glass is carefully ladled into the shape and left to slowly cool. Once cooled, the sculpture is dug out and cleaned off. However, the texture of the sand remains, indicating its unique path to creation. Swedish artist Bertil Vallien was instrumental in revolutionizing the modern sand casting technique in the late 1970s, applying a method formerly reserved for industrial metalwork to studio glass sculpture. His signature sand casting method became a technical novelty in the glass world, earning him international recognition. Vallien's most well-known sculptural motif is the boat, which holds multiple meanings for the artist. Vallien's boats symbolize a journey from past to future. Here, in BE 197, the stern represents the past, filled with symbols like figures, boxes, and chains, while the bow is clear and signifying an unwritten and hopeful future. He states, quote, "I make boats because their shape is beautiful. It contains both mystery and symbolism. The boat is traveling and life is sailing from beginning to the end." Vallien's work leads us on to our next featured artist, Carl Beling. In the early 1990s, Bertil Vallien taught at Urban Glass, one of New York's leading glass-blowing facilities. Carl Beling, a Swedish-born doctor, was one of Vallien's students during this time. Vallien not only taught Beling the art of sandcasting, but heavily influenced his artistic style. Vallien and Belling's works both feature boat motifs, an apt metaphor for life's journey and beyond. Inspired by Vallien, Beling applied the sandcasting method to his own glassworks, creating boats similar to Vallien's, as both artists had an affinity for their symbolism. However, Belling's architectural sculptures are unique to his practice and appear in a multitude of colors with figurative and geometric inclusions. Despite his long career as a medical doctor, Beling always had an affinity for architecture, stating that in his next life he would come back as an architect. He expressed this sentiment through his glasswork, creating many architectural sculptures. Moonwalk pays homage to Belling's heritage through the dominant use of yellow and blue, the colors of the Swedish flag. Another work from Vallien that deserves recognition is his Janus I sculpture. In the mid-1990s, Vallien debuted timeless, dreamlike heads that capture strong emotions ranging from peace to distress. He gained inspiration for the glass heads from an 1876 newspaper about a 14-year-old girl named Carolina, who slipped and hit her head on ice, causing her to go into a coma. Carolina was said to have remained unconscious for 32 years, and when she finally woke up in 1908, she talked about the presence of blue men. These ghostly faces remained singular until Vallien created his Janus series, which references the Roman god of transitions, passages, and beginnings. One face looks forward and another, recessed into the glass, faces backward, giving a figure an omniscient view. The polished planes on the back of the head, resembling an axe, create an optical, mirrored effect, adding to its theme of duality. Stephanie Trenchard's work stands out from the others with their unique compositions, vibrant colors, and surreal narratives. Trenchard's work highlights famous female artists and how their careers were affected by motherhood or relationships. This work focuses on Frida Kahlo both through the central figure in blue and references to her artwork. The title, Diego on Her Mind, refers to Kahlo's painting with the same title, in which the artist is depicted with her lifelong husband and painter, Diego Rivera, on her forehead. Though tumultuous, the pair's relationship provided unlimited inspiration for Kahlo, who often painted or referenced Rivera in her work. Trenchard successfully marries her painting skills with her glass sculptures. The first task in the process of creation is to start by sculpting inclusions, or the smaller glass sculptures in the center of the blocks. Using special paint that can resist high temperatures, Trenchard paints the small sculptures, achieving a high level of blending and detail. Once finished, the figures are then submerged into the middle of molten glass that has been formed by a sand bed. After the glass is cooled, it is then removed from the sand bed and ground down to create the perfect shapes for stacking, similar to a totem pole. Down the center of the gallery sit 3 larger-than-life sculptures by Stephen D. Edwards. His sculpture, Icarus, references a character from Greek mythology who flew too close to the sun with wings crafted of metal and beeswax. Melting from the sun's heat, the wings fell apart and Icarus plummeted to his death in the Aegean Sea. Edwards' sculpture captures the hubris and the might of the mythological character in bold red glass. The angles of the sculpture move away from the viewer, suggesting the moment that Icarus flies off, emboldened by his newly gifted freedom of flight. Differing from artists' horizontal sand casting technique is fellow glass pioneer Howard Bentray's vertical sand mold casting process. Beginning with 2D drawings, Bentray creates templates for his sculptures, which are then formed with styrofoam and encased in a concrete-like sand mixture. Molten glass is then poured into the sand molds and left to cool for up to 6 weeks. Once cooled, the glass form is dug out, sandblasted, cut, polished, and fit with bronze or granite additions. Bentray's work results in elegant, otherworldly forms in an industrial frosted green glass. Thank you for joining me for today's Curators Tour. If you would like to explore these works in person, Ancient Methods, Modern Visions, Sand Cast Glass is open until May 18th.